Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2006 Mini Cooper and I want to walk through how to install Roadmaster's LED bulb and socket kit. Bulb and socket kit, or the LED light kit, is going to be designed to transfer light signals back to the back of your vehicle when it's being flat towed. The difference between diode kits and your bulb and socket is diode kits are designed to tie into factory wiring, where the bulb and socket requires you to drill a hole into the light and it uses a separate bulb. That way it doesn't affect or interfere with any wiring on the vehicle itself. Now, with the Mini Cooper, the wires cannot be tied into, so you can't use a diode kit. It only can be used with bulb and socket. There's two different types of bulb and socket. You have LED kits and you have the incandescent. I recommend going with the LEDs because the LEDs, one, are going to be a little bit brighter, and two, are going to last a lot longer. You're not going to have to worry about changing a bulb out. This particular kit is not going to come with the 6-pole plug or the umbilical cord. There are kits available. You can find those here at eTrailer. This kit is going to be one of the 5 main components needed to flat tow the Mini Cooper behind a motorhome. The other 4 are going to be your base plate, which attached to the chassis of the vehicle to give you a solid connection point for your tow bar. The tow bar, which gives you that connection point between the base plate and the motorhome. Your safety cables, which are a secondary safety device. Your braking system, which allows the vehicle to not only slow but stop itself, so we're not relying on the motorhome to slow and stop both vehicles. As you can see, with the blinker on, we have the sun facing directly at the back of the vehicle. The light is very bright. 450 lumens is going to come with both bulbs, one for each taillight, and the wiring to run from the front of the vehicle. As far as the installation process, pretty simple and straightforward. Simply run the diode wiring from the front of the vehicle to the back, to each taillight, and then it is going to require you to drill a hole in the back of the taillight. You just need to make sure when you drill that hole, the placement of it is not going to interfere with the other bulb that's in the light already. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's walk through how to get it installed. To start your installation, you're going to take one end of your roll of diode wiring and you're going to route it right up to the front of your fascia. Make sure you leave, I'd say, about 6 inches hanging out the front. Zip tie it, whatever you got to do to a bracket, so you have enough to add on your 6-pole plug later. Then we need to route it to the back of the vehicle. You want to make sure you're staying away from anything hot or moving. How we did it is, if you lower this panel, Phillips here, you got a Phillips on the other side, lower this panel, and you can run it right along this frame rail. Throw some zip ties on it. You have some factory wiring here, hard lines, straight to the back, over this cross member, or this brace, right under this bracket for your fuel tank. We're going to go up over the top of our axle, and then we need to get inside the trunk of the vehicle. So right up, about directly straight up from here, up above your heat shield, there's a grommet, our rubber plug. You can get it from the outside or the inside, it really doesn't matter. We're going to pop that out. Right here is where that rubber grommet is. If you want to pull the plug out from the top, put a screwdriver down there so you can see it a little bit better from the bottom. It might make it a little bit easier for you. But all you're going to do is pull your wire up through it, and then what we can do is we can slice the rubber grommet and then slide it back in place once we get our wire ran to our taillights. From here, we need to get up to our driver's side taillight. In order to get your driver's side taillight out and your passenger side, I'm going to have to explain it to you because the car is so small in here, you're not going to see any of it. So let me grab the taillight and I'll kind of walk you through. So on the back, you're going to have one nut. And if we look inside here, this nut, where this bracket is right here, is right here. On the other side, it's going to have 2 clamps. So you're going to have to reach in through that small hole right along this edge. You're going to have to push these 2 clamps together in order to pop it out. You're just going to push them in like this. Slide this out and then disconnect your wiring. simply just push that black tab. Now we're going to take this threshold off. You're going to have a couple of fasteners that look like this. One right here in the middle and one down underneath the hook on the driver's side. Pull out the center, pull out the base. What we're going to do is we're going to grab down here at the bottom and pull out, and then pull up. We'll just kind of separate that just enough where we can get a pull wire right in this corner and then up right to here. And we're going to take the other end of our wire and we're going to tape it to the end of our pull wire to help feed it up to the taillight pocket. Now what we need to do is separate all of our wires. We're going to separate them all the way back to the taillight pocket. And I pulled my wire back through just a little bit. I want to pull this green wire loose a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and pull it back through because it's going to be routed over to our passenger side. Take our yellow wire, we're going to cut it down to size. We're going to strip it back. We're going to add on one of the butt connectors that comes in the kit. We're going to take one of our lights, the red wire, we're going to strip it back and go to the yellow. We're going to take our brown wire, we're going to cut it to length, except we're going to strip back both ends, put them together on a butt connector, and connect it to the brown wire coming off the light. Brown wire is going to be routed back inside and it's going to route over to the passenger side with our green wire, except we're not going to do it just yet because we are going to be doing the same thing with our white wire, with the exception that we're going to have one extra wire coming off of it and we have to be grounded here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our white wire, we're going to cut it to size, cut a small section off like this. This time we're going to strip back all three. This is going to be our ground wire for this light. This is going to be our ground wire for the opposite light. This is the ground going up to the 6-pole plug in the front. I'm going to go ahead and tape up my wires or my butt connectors here with some electrical tape. As I mentioned before, the ground wire is going to go on the stud where the factory ground was. Just the jumper wire. Remove that nut, install your ground, the ring terminal there, and then reinstall the nut. The only thing different on the passenger side is green wire is going to go to red, brown to brown. We'll have a single white wire going to our black wire. Next we need to drill a 1-inch hole in the back of our light. We're going to make sure we're not going so far up that we hit our other light, or so far down that we hit the face of that reflector right there. So right about in this area is where we're going to drill our hole. We're going to use a 1-inch hole saw bit. Before we drill that hole, we're going to mark it and then we're going to pop this out. Push these two little tabs and then we can slide this out and it won't get in the way. Next, these little tabs, you want to bend them out just a little bit, and then you want to put some RTV silicone around this edge so that when you put it into the light, it actually seals on the back of the light, doesn't let any moisture get inside. So you may have to readjust the little pins that are on there to make sure that when you put this in, it kind of pops into place. You want to make sure that it's not loose. The silicone will help seal it and help hold it on there, but make sure those little tabs are bent out enough. Once you get it on, you can go ahead and plug in your factory plug and then reinstall the light. Now we'll test out our lights using an alternate power source. It's going to simulate being hooked up to your RV. Tail lights, left turn, brake lights, right turn. Once you've tested it out, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at and installation on Roadmaster's bulb and socket LED light kit on a 2006 Mini Cooper.